At the very first Charter Schools Roundtable meeting today, stakeholders disagreed on what extent GDOE's involvement should be with the charter schools. PNC's Janella Carrera reports.
Present were various stakeholders from the charter schools, the GUAM Education Board, GDOE, and the public auditor. During the discussion, both iLearn Chief Operating Officer Helen Nishihira and GAC's consultant Marilyn Manabusa noted that their students have done well in their standardized testing scores. Nishihira also talked about the challenges of getting $8.6 million cut from their budget in the middle of the school year, but noted that along with the rest of GovGuam, they're trying to rise to the challenge. GAC's consultant Marilyn Manabusan gave a similar message in terms of having to deal with a reduction in funds. But it was in the discussion on the extent of DOE's involvement with the charter schools, as well as whether charters need to follow GovGuam procurement procedures, that opposing views were most glaring. Manabusan questioned the presence of DOE on the Charter Schools Council, stating the law that created them intended charter schools to be separate from the department. She also added that one of the sections creating charters said they should exclusively handle their own accounts.
We are all for accountability. I mean, we are. We're not saying we shouldn't be. We are trying. Like we said, we're the first charter school and we're trying our best. We don't do things purposely and intently so we could defy the law.
This was a different point of view from GUAM Education Board Chairman Mark Mendiola.
And so I think that needs to be very clear to everybody around the table that if the Department of Education is going to be sharing its funds to help with the charter schools, that they too also go under the same scrutiny that we undergo.
Guam Academy Charter Schools Council member Yuka Oguma agreed.
I believe that procurement process is necessary because we're using government funds, and we should have some. We were just talking about having accountability, and that's one of the biggest things. My main concern with how each charter schools are using the funds that were given from Department of Education.
Public Auditor Brooks gave her input, saying, quote, when the legislature passed the law, they said charter schools must follow GovGuam procurement regulations. Therefore, when you take money from a government, there are strings attached to it. Meantime, in regards to having purview of charter schools, Fernandez said, quote, the legislature passed laws that have funded the charter schools out of the GDOE budget and required GDOE to validate charter school expenditures. So it appears very intentional that the legislature meant for GDOE to have a major role. End quote. Fernandez says, however, that both he and the board have asked for either full separation of GDOE from charters or to allow GDOE to have greater control over charters. Janella Carrera, PNC News.